Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Blu-ray Hunter. I'm the Blu-ray Hunter, Jonathan Moody, and we're here to talk about Adrift. So Adrift is the 2018 film starring Shailene Woodley, and I'm gonna look the guy's name up. Sam Claflin. I was familiar with him, but I definitely know Shailene, and that was the main draw for buying this movie. I had heard of this movie. I was very interested in seeing it. I did not see it in theater, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not seeing it in theater because it is definitely a movie that I would have loved in the theater. It was it's not a horror film or anything, but it had moments where I was sort of terrified for what was going on. After watching some of the behind the scenes stuff, I found out that Shailene and Sam and the director and everybody, the crew cast, well, I guess they were the only cast pretty much um, in the movie, but they at least most of the movie because they're mostly on the ship or whatever. Um, they had to go through some real shit. It was so some behind the scenes stuff. I heard some of the audio commentary. There was real sharks in the water and stuff because they were shooting in the middle of a freaking ocean. There was they didn't show any sharks in the movie. And I wonder if there was a choice for that of like because it didn't happen in the book, did they choose not to do that? Because that would have been my like main fear of being out in the middle of the ocean is like I'm around where sharks are gonna be swarming at some point. The movie Open Water. This is a little bit different than Open Water, but like still gives me that claustrophobic fear of being trapped in the middle of the ocean. And I like this movie a lot better than I liked Open Water. I do love Open Water. Open Water freaks me out. And I want like a Blu-ray of all three of them, all three of the Open Water movies. But Adrift is not a movie that will have like a sequel. Like it's not meant to be. It's meant to be a one and done story based on this woman's life, Tammy Ashcroft, I think is her name. And I think in the movie she's Tammy Oldham, which was her maiden name. And then I guess she got married to somebody with the last name Ashcroft. So she got and so it was her and this guy, Richard, who ended up taking, you know, they fell in love pretty quickly and they decided to go. It wasn't like they decided just to go sailing. They got they got paid to go sailing and they ended up going into Hurricane Raymond, which was a real hurricane that was like a Category 5 hurricane in the Pacific Ocean, and they got hit hard. And uh, so through some digging and other stuff, like I wasn't completely understanding the ending until I kind of did some digging into it and realized that like I guess she never found Richard. Like Richard like fell off at some point and he was no longer there with her. But I'm not even sure if she in real life ever actually found Richard. So I want to say his yeah, Richard Sharp. And so yeah, it was crazy. It was scary. As you can see, it was the director of Everest. So the director of Everest is used to doing things in like, scary situations and stuff. I guess he kind of like, I guess that's like extreme directing, you know? And I don't know, I fell in love with this movie. Mainly because I have a huge crush on Shailene Woodley, like a huge crush. She's probably one of my favorite actresses in Hollywood right now. One of the, she's in my, she's top, like top on my top five. Let's just say that. I don't want to say anything more, but Anywho, I'm a huge fan of this movie from like the get-go. I started watching it and I was just hooked. The way they sort of presented it almost felt very Tarantino, and I don't think that's the way it was actually written. I think it was written straightforward, and they kind of like through editing and other things, they kind of instead of making it a story that kind of just went back and forth, or what it went straight forward. They made it go back and forth. So in the editing, they made it like, they'd be talking about what is it? Being, they're doing they're falling in love, and you're seeing it in Tahiti and everything. Then they go back to the ship, and then they go back to and basically what happens is throughout it, as one is sort of ending, the other one is catching up to what we saw in the beginning of the movie. So I thought that was a pretty cool like thing. I mean, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this movie. It hooked me in. I cared about the characters. I wanted Shailene to win. Wanted her to get to safety and make it out alive. And the problem with it being based on a true story and the writer telling the survival tale, she survived. So, spoiler alert, she lives. But you don't know the other stuff. You don't know stuff about and there was spoilers, sorry. I should probably put spoilers up on the thing. But yeah, it was insane. This Shailene's character is just so strong and so motivated. And a lot of it was this sort of fight or flight kind of mentality of like, what do you do in a situation where you're just kind of thrust into the to it? Do you just whimper and and cry, or do you get up and you start figuring whatever you have to figure out to get you, moving? And I love that. Like I felt like you're in the ship with her, and I think what I liked about it most also was that the fact that I'm not really into movies where it takes place in like one location. So movies like Open Water would normally not do anything for me, but I think the feeling of being lost and at sea and that fear, you know, um, I think that's amazing. And it really gets me. This movie, I really liked once again going back to Island and stuff like that. So it wasn't just like one, area and them try. I don't think I would have liked the movie if it was literally just watching her try to figure out how to get going. If I didn't see all that love stuff going on and them, I wouldn't care for her as much. And I did listen to the commentary and they mentioned something that I was like, oh, that's very interesting. What they mentioned was that so there is a what is it? There's a scene with her um being with him and they're with this other couple and the couple's trying to convince him to go on this boat to go from Fiji to San Diego and he wants to do it because A, it's money and B, he loves to sail and that's a good excuse to sail. She doesn't want to go because San Diego is her hometown. So she doesn't want to go back home and and be there or whatever. She wants to be out in the open sea or she wants to be at Fiji. She wants to be somewhere else. She wants to travel. She wants to explore the world. And from what I've understood, the real Tammy actually still sails. So even after this nasty thing, I don't know how long it took her before she got back into the boat, but the fact that she was able to get back into a boat like after this like traumatic event, I mean, I don't know how somebody I mean, I guess after a while you just gotta kind of move on, like and just kind of put it all behind you and everything. But I think at first you're probably gonna have like flashbacks and PTSD over it a little bit. Would be interesting to hear Tammy's thoughts on that at some point. if I could ever get that. If I could ever interview Tammy, I definitely would because I would love to hear her more than just some of the interviews. And so some of the interviews are like 3 minutes long, and that's kind of short, and they don't really go into too much about her stuff. Now, I don't know if that's a thing with her, and she doesn't really want to do it because, like, A, you can read the book, and B, she doesn't want to relive it all the time. Which I I get 100%. So you know, don't worry about that. But yeah, I was very, very pleased with this movie. I thought this movie was um very well directed, very well acted, very well produced. Uh, I don't know how they did the waves because that shit looked real. And if that was real, like how the fuck did they do that? I don't know. It looked extremely scary. I saw yeah, there's some really good I should have listened to that in the commentary. Maybe I should fast forward it commentary at some point and listen to that. But like, and that's another thing with if you buy the Adrift movie, which you can get at Hamilton Books, that's where I got this one at. If you buy the Adrift Blu-ray, it comes with commentary, it comes with featurettes. Now, I didn't like the way they did their featurettes, which was like they did 6 minutes and it was all different featurettes, but they didn't even kind of break them up at all. Like I don't mind if you do six or you do like three featurettes and you put them each 2 minutes each into the thing, but at least have something like kind of separate them so I know what other than like the trailers, I have no idea and I don't even know what each featurette is supposed to be about because it seemed like there was all the same thing. So I wasn't really impressed with the featurettes, but commentary in itself is enough. And I think it had deleted scenes as well. So you get a lot with this movie. And to me, I think that is amazing. So I love that Shailene Union's character was a vegan and she was supposed to go catch a fish and she just couldn't do it. And I was just like, I love that. Like, I don't know, there was so much thought put into this movie that probably most likely a lot came from the book, but like a lot of it also probably came from the writers and the two writers who did it. Those guys, what were their names? They had some Aaron and Jordan Candell. Also David Branson Smith wrote it too, but I don't know how much he had input. They really showed Aaron and Jordan most of the time for featurette stuff. So I don't know if the other guy just kind of wrote a draft of it or something. But man, it's just so freaking well done. Like I just was so impressed. And yeah, I loved every aspect of it. Um, this was high up on my list of movies for this month. And so you'll see like a little ranking tomorrow. Interestingly enough, that I'm about to actually do. I'm about to record that. So we're going to be putting these both up at the same time. But yeah, it's interesting. Like it's an interesting thing, period. Um, I think you'll get a kick out of everything. Yeah, so here you go. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please leave a comment and a like, and tell me what you guys think. Did you guys like your draft? Did you not like your draft? I don't think anybody could say they just didn't like it unless they just sort of weren't into it. Like, movies about people being lost at sea may not appeal to everybody. But aside from that, I think people love it. I loved it. So there you go. That is my review for Adrift. So thank you guys for checking this out and join me next week for brand new Blu-ray reviews. Blu-ray Hunter reviews. Yeah. Bye.